Well, bonjour, comment allez-vous, and je vais très bien. Hey, we're glad that you all are here, and we have a doozy for you. We're going to have some fun tonight, okay? It's going to be educational as always, but we're going to have some fun. But anyway, I hope everybody is preparing for this winter storm that's coming. You see, I'm already sculled up, and I'm ready for it. They say that we're supposed to be getting snow here in Atlanta on tomorrow and all throughout the week. So if you up in those northern states, man, I can imagine what it's going to be like. But anyway, just be prepared. Make sure that when you get below those freezing temperatures, make sure you leave your water and your faucet running so you don't freeze up your pipes. All right? That's my tidbit for tonight. But anyway, before we get started, we always toast up to everybody on the line. So here's to everybody on the line, and we hope that every day up until today has been a wonderful and marvelous day for you. And if not, we're here to make it better. And we can guarantee you it's gonna get better. So here's to everybody on the line. If you've been with us before, you know the first thing you got to have your drink. So here we go. All right. So I know y'all ready to get it started because if you were there last week, I mean, we're doing record numbers, so somebody's paying attention, and we're glad that you're all a part of our family. But let me invite my guests so we can get started, okay? Okay, there's one. Hey, DeJoya.
Hey,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now. Do the
You
same
know why you
thing.
couldn't? You know why you couldn't hear me?
Why?
Cause the mic was off.
Hey. Well, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense that your mic is off. And you know that it's time to get started at 8 o'clock. We can't keep the people waiting, DeJoy.
Okay. We won't.
All right. Hey, we're going to chalk that up to your heart. I mean, to your head and not your heart, okay? All right. But anyway, let's get started. Listen, last week we talked about how do we hold ourselves accountable when we do something? Why do we always place the blame on somebody else when we do something wrong? So if you missed that, go check it out on my Facebook page. There's a lot of insightful information, and I'm telling you, you're going to love it, all right? So check it out. Just make sure that you do it with an open mind so that you don't think that we're preaching to you. It's just that we want to share the information and help you get to a better place, all right? All right. So listen, tonight we got a doozy. Hey, Keith, what's going on, boss?
What's up, OG? Long time no speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, long time, about 3-4 hours ago. Yes, indeed. We gonna get it done. I walked away from that conference call, feeling very good. So we're gonna be all right. Trust me. All
I
right.
trust your judgment, OG. When you said what you said to me, it's like how they say now, say less. When you said that, I go everything that we work on, just real quick, I go off what you say. So no matter how I think I might have lined it up and set it up and packaged it and everything, when you leave that call, if you say, oh, Keith, I don't know about that one, then I already know it ain't gonna go. So I already know this one you said you felt good. So I was like, okay, yeah. I'm like, all right. So we gonna roll with that. What's up, DeJoya?
We're gonna have our own vault here.
That's what I'm trying to do, Mr. G. Come on, this is how I'm thinking about it. I'll tell you how I've been thinking about it after. Wow. That's how I've been thinking. Have our own vault, and that's exactly what I was thinking. I ain't tell you yet because I ain't want you to think I was head over heels over the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was already thinking that. Yeah, no.
Hey, but
Okay.
we got to put it out in the universe because that's how it happens, man. When you put it out there, it really works. Even if it's telepathically, if you do it mentally, you ain't got to tell nobody. But if you put it out there, trust and believe. If you're living right,
Yeah.
this don't pertain to everybody. If you're living right, I
Yeah.
can guarantee you it's going to happen for you. So always remember that.
Okay. Got you. Thank you.
Okay, so now listen. We're going to get on to our subject, our discussion tonight. And I see Miss O'Neill, she looked like she about ready to blow smoke out of her nose. So we're going to get started. Your mic is off again. But
Yes,
anyway,
I am not.
okay.
What's up,
Anyway,
DeJoya? How you?
Good.
That's what's up.
all right. Okay, good. Okay, listen. Tonight we're going to be talking about and discussing. We're not going to just be talking about it, because when you talk about something, you don't expect any responses from anybody. You want them to listen. But we're going to discuss it. Handling rejection. What is the best or most effective way to handle rejection? Now, we all know rejection is a normal part of life.
Mm,
But what we don't know is how to channel that energy into something that's going to make us larger than feeling smaller. So we're going to talk about that. This is going to get deep. So y'all don't get your significant others, your wives, your boyfriends, and whoever. Go get them. They need to be on this. All right. Tell them to come on into the room. But anyway, we aren't just talking about romantic relationships. We're also talking about your careers, social groups, athletics, anything that involves the possibility that you might be rejected or not make the team or feel less than. That's what we're discussing. Okay? Now, let me give you the first cardinal rule. When we handle rejection effectively, and we're talking about doing it effectively. When we handle rejections effectively, it's not about avoiding the pain that it causes. It's not about avoiding the pain. Now, I know people may think, okay, give us a reason that we can make the pain go away or make ourselves feel better about it. Now that you've discovered, and I've said that, it's not about trying to avoid the pain. What it is about the process and processing that pain in a way that strengthens you instead of shrinking you. Let me say that again. We don't avoid the pain when we're rejected. We process it in a way that it strengthens us instead of making us feel smaller. Remember, rejection triggers the same brain pathways as physical pain. It triggers the same pathways as physical pain. So when you feel hurt, angry, disappointed, or embarrassed, it's normal. So those physical characteristics, when we feel have been rejected, we feel all of those emotions the same way. Okay, so let's not think, let's distill that rumor that if you're rejected, then you're supposed to be bitter, or you are not qualified, or you don't have the value. Let's get rid of all that. We're going to get into it deeper a little later on, but there are so many people that equate that with themselves. And I don't want to bite my thunder just this early. I'm trying to get you excited so you can understand, right? So understand that the feelings that you feel when you're rejected are the same as physical pain. It feels just as bad sometimes. Sometimes it's even worse. And I think everybody's been hurt before. I think everybody's been rejected before. If you haven't been rejected, then hey, you're from a whole different dimension because we all experience rejection in some form of fashion. So to get into it, the first thing we have to acknowledge is that we have to recognize that rejection is normal. It's a normal part of life. Being rejected is normal. Now, what we should do, we should give ourselves a short period of time, just a short period of time to feel it fully. Now, I'm talking maybe minutes or hours. We ain't talking about no couple of weeks, no months, no years. A lot of people kind of hold that within themselves and they are bitter and they carry it around with them much too long. Go ahead, DeJoy. You trying to say something?
I'm not saying one little thing.
Why? We
I'm
need
not
your
saying that
perspective.
yet.
Your
I'm about to let you keep on talking for a minute because I know you're gonna dig a hole for yourself, and then I'm gonna come in and say something like that.
I'm just giving the information. I just want to know how you feel about it as we go along. Because look, I'm going to just always tell the truth. The truth can't be denied, right?
I ain't gonna lie, that junk do hurt. I think I've been rejected more than I've been accepted sometimes. I'm y'all like how that sound, don't y'all? I know. That's what I be thinking. I've been rejected more than I've been accepted. Come on now, y'all gotta feel this with me. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go on
Well,
now.
we don't count it. We don't count it in terms of numbers or things like that. It's all one and the same.
I don't
And
particularly be counting numbers either, but I'm just saying I've been rejected more than I've been accepted.
I
The
don't
player
think
trying.
that's
I'm
true.
trying to get it together now.
I don't think that's true, though. It may appear that way because it's always extenuated when it's rejection. So it feels worse, and it seems like it happens more often than not. So I guarantee
Okay.
you ain't been no more rejected than anybody else. Trust and believe.
Okay, I'm just gonna go on and lay on the couch. Cause normally, when I be having these sessions, the therapist end up on the couch and I still be talking. But now I'm just gonna go sit on the couch. Go ahead.
All right, okay. All right, so it's important to give yourself time to feel it fully. All right. The reason that's important is because unprocessed emotions they leak into self-doubt and bitterness. Just as I was saying, if you carry it too much and for too long, you become bitter. That's when you start. What's the song where the girl said, "Bust the windows out your car"? That's when that kind of stuff. You're carrying that, you're carrying that rejection much too long, and it really ain't that serious. I know all females. They had a ball when that
Yeah,
song
but
came
it do feel better when you do that though. You feel a little bit relieved.
out.
Let me just say.
When you bust the windows out the car. All right.
Bruh. And write your name on it too. Boy, I'm telling you, you feel a little bit
Hey,
relieved. Go ahead on.
I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. But it can lead to self-doubt and bitterness. When we allow those emotions to process, it turns that rejection into clarity. We can start asking questions as to why. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is separating meaning from the message. They have difficulty separating the meaning of rejection to the message. That means most of us make rejection mean something. We make it mean something about our self-worth. That's the problem that we have. When you're rejected, it doesn't have anything to do with your value or your self-worth. That's the first thing we need to fix. Just because you're rejected, it doesn't have anything to do with your self-worth. Now, And the reason we say that because we have that internal, I say that is because we have that internal voice. And that internal voice helps us frame it by saying things like, I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't pretty enough, or they all were better than me. That's what we do. That internal voice have us equating it to our self-worth and our value. So this self-talk is contributing to rejection being part of your self-worth, and it is not part of your self-worth. Just because the boy down the street, the most popular guy, the most athletic, we all went through that during high school where we had all these people, the most likely to succeed, the most athletic, the most glamorous. We all went through that. Now,
Well, what about if you never did fall in any of the categories?
well, most of us don't. Most of us don't. Think
Oh,
about
okay.
it.
Well, I
You got a
already feel
whole
like
high
a no-brainer.
school. You only got you got 5 categories, and you got 5 people that are selected. So you got
But guess what I got to tell you.
okay. Tell me.
You know, those of us that been rejected, we end up being the prize winners. But all of them people in all them categories, they ain't turn out to be worth for nothing.
I was just about to say. I ain't gonna say that, but what I was about to
No, I'm telling that all of they ain't turn out to be worth for nothing. I mean, I think I did better than some of them, but I'm just saying, like
Not
people.
all of them. You can't generalize and say all of them. You
Just
just
because
can't say
you
that.
ended up, just because you ended up, I'm just saying. But just because you ended up the star athlete, as you say all the time, don't go there. But I'm just saying,
Oh,
Don't
Lord
go
have
out of the
there.
mercy.
people that
Lord have mercy.
Hey, don't get
This
us
is gonna be
started.
yeah,
one of
because
another snippets of her ripping us up because you don't
Yeah,
just
I'm
wake
man.
up
just
and
saying
become
we
a
about to keep that.
athlete. You got to work your you know what
Yeah,
off to become whatever you become. So what
a
is it
star
that we saying?
athlete.
Nah, cut it out.
All
But
Oh
right,
my
all right.
Lord.
but what I was saying was, no, I'm serious. Like when you're in high school and when you're going through things, even at work, you strive to get those little milestones and get those little accolades and stuff like that. And a lot of times it hurts people when they don't. And I just don't look at it like that. I just look at it as that just wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? That just ain't for me to shine. I'm gonna shine some other way. I used to look at it like that before I grew into my own. I used to look for so much of approval and appraise and
Or you were
things like
supposed to
that. But
shine and they didn't give you to shine, my friend. You can
yeah,
shine and be
that's what I'm
bright and they're
saying.
trying to dim your light. So that don't mean you weren't
And
supposed to get it. You were supposed to get it, but man or woman, human denied you. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, right. Yeah, that can be, yeah,
Absolutely.
and it can be that way too. So, I just learned that, I'm gonna be who I am in my own right. I had to tell, somebody that today, and it was about something that happened at work, and I said, hey, I think they didn't know who I was. I think they forgot who I was. So, and I tell them that all the time. People can forget who you are, or people fail to realize, where your greatness is. And it's not for them to realize it at that time. Every time ain't your time. I mean, just like you said, sometimes they can refuse you to shine, but sometimes it just ain't your time. And you just have to accept that either way. If you don't learn to accept the rejection or accept, the pits, the downfalls, and all that stuff, you won't learn to appreciate when you do reach that greatness and things like that. That's just how I look at stuff.
Yeah, and that's the correct way to look at it. But the point of the matter is this: when you're rejected, the the problem that most people have is they attribute it to their self-worth. And I'm trying to point out tonight, it has nothing to do with your self-worth. If that boy down the street doesn't like you, you just ain't his cup of tea. Or their preference may be a little different. And everybody got their likes and dislikes. They don't have to agree with our own. But the point and the main focus is that you're not supposed to, after being rejected, you're not supposed to look at it as an attack on your value. If you do that, then you're losing the battle. With over 8 billion people on the planet, we're talking about romantic relationships now. Trust and believe there's somebody for everybody. There's somebody for everybody. Trust me. Now, now what we should do, we should extract the lesson from rejection. We should extract the lesson, not attribute it to our self-worth. And we have to extract it without self-blame. Because what do? No, the normal way that we deal with rejection is that we look for a reason. And normally that reason comes with a characteristic that's associated with ourselves. Or maybe if I would have combed my hair, or maybe if I would have wore this dress, or maybe if I would have washed the car, or maybe if I would have went and got a haircut. We're always looking for some type of excuse to justify the rejection. And my point that I'm making is that you don't need an excuse. If you're just rejected, you're just rejected. And that's not a blick on you in most cases. Now, there's a such thing as being prepared and making sure that you keep yourself in a presentable state. We're not talking about that. In addition to those things, if you do those things, and most of us do, I don't see too many slouches out there. You see the people with the bonnets on, the pajamas at Walmart, but they still look like they washed. So they keep there. Well, some of them. I see you looking. I see you looking, DeJoy. You're like, I just think some look like they.
Okay, let me just correct you on this little tidbit. And yes, I can be the unknown comic sometimes. But baby, if they get in Walmart in their pajamas and bonnet, baby, they ain't washed nothing. They ain't picked up nail wash rag or piece of soap. Let me just tell you that. They just got up out the bed. They don't care about the rejection or exception. They just go. I'm just telling you. So you might want to fix that, okay?
Okay.
I want you to fix that.
Well, I was given the benefit of the doubt then. I guess I need to stop doing that. All right. But anyway, like I said, we have to extract the lesson, and we have to do it without blaming ourselves. That means that we are learning from it. Every rejection contains information. Every single rejection contains information and not condemnation. Rejection contains information.
Have you ever just looked back at some things? I'm sorry. You know what? I tell them sure every time what time I get on this thing, they just call in time. But I've looked back at some times when I, experienced a rejection or didn't get an opportunity or whatever. And then I look back and revisit the situation or go, you know what I mean? And then I look back, I'd be like, damn, I'm glad they missed me with that. Sometimes that can be a welcoming experience, especially now. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all because I am very transparent with you all on the live, and when it was on Facebook, I was the same. Particularly one of the situations I'm in right now. I wish I had a missed that boat. You know what I'm saying? I wish, and you know what I'm talking about, sir. I wish I had a missed that boat in terms of that employment opportunity, because it's been more of a it's been like hell. And the thing is that they know they're like that. But what I've learned is to just go head on and be me. I've learned to snap back just like they snap, or be just to the point, professional or whatever, and go on about my business and not care about what is said after or how people feel about me after. Because if the things that come along with rejection and the cruel things that people say, I guess everybody have to get to this point, but it don't bother me about what's said or, how people try to judge me or, my skills and stuff like that. But that is one thing that I wish I would have missed the boat on. at first I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to, climb financially or, get more experience. But actually now that I'm in the situation and I've been in it since COVID, I wish I would have missed that boat right there. I wish I wouldn't have paid attention to the boats that was coming and let that thing go. So you get mad at certain situations, but sometimes you gotta think about why you missed the boat or why you were rejected. And sometimes you can want something so bad and then it's given to you and you be like, damn, I wish I would have let that thing float.
Yeah, and then
And that's
that's
where I'm
why
at.
we miss it. We miss the clear meaning sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because we have other reasons that uh, hold us to the rejection. So we miss the meaning. And the biggest part of it, and I'm emphasizing it for a reason, is that you can't attribute it to your self worth. And like you say, you wish you would have missed it because now throughout your experiences, you see that, well, I'll say it like this. Maybe that's what you needed during that time to survive, or maybe that's what was necessary in your life at that time. I'll say it like that
But
because
it's like sometimes, and I don't know what this is called, but sometimes I usually call it going against the grain. Sometimes we go against the grain, so we don't get it. So we go back and we try to do all these things so we can get it. And that's how it was. I didn't get the opportunity the first time. So when somebody else, was out and they needed somebody to fill in, there I was. You know what I'm saying? So when the opportunity came about, I was like, well, I don't feel in and this and pretty much know the environment. I'm ready to take it on. And I got the position. But like I said, it's been like hellfire for five. How many years it been? 5 years. Imagine that. Imagine walking through hell for 5 years when you really don't have to, but
thank you
because
for
you
the
were so
gift.
stubborn and you going against the grain and you try to
Nah,
prove
just
something to somebody. And I didn't even realize I was trying to prove, something to someone. Well, if I get this, then everybody can see I'm this. If I this, you know what? And then so now I ended up in a hellfire of stuff that I can't even get out of. I can't even lose it. I can't even lose the damn job. And I'm just like, okay, but yeah, I can't even lose it. I'm like, damn, you know. So yeah,
yeah.
that's yeah. That's
Well, I mean, and that's true in a lot of places because people are not going to give you your flowers, even though you deserve them. That's why we stick to this one golden rule. We have to understand that no matter how they treat us, it does not reflect what I'm worth. It does not reflect on my value. So if we can just remember that one point, whenever we're rejected, or whenever someone makes us feel less than, if we know that it has nothing to do with our value, then we can use that energy to strengthen us and learn the lesson from being rejected. So again, if you do it without self-blame, you can ask yourself some questions on the surface. First of all, was there something missing? Was everything clear? Was there anything misaligned? You can ask yourself those questions. And the most important question I feel is this. If this feedback, once I ask all these questions to myself, this is self-talk again. This is self-talk. All right? Once I ask those questions, I then move to the second phase. I say to myself, if this the feedback that I can act on, or noise I should discard. So I'm asking myself these questions. If it's too ambiguous, or if it's too crowded, I'm going to dismiss it because I don't need that in my life because it takes up too much space. If the lesson helps you to improve, you should keep it. If that lesson in rejection helps you to improve your life or improve you as a person, you should keep it. If it only makes you feel bad and small, you should throw it out. So let me recap.
Okay, I need one of them big 60-gallon trash bags then, cause
Well, yeah, you
I
got to
got a
throw
whole
it
lot
out.
of shit. I got a whole lot of mess and that's in a way it's a sad thing when you get to that point when you realize you have to discard some things,
Oh, yeah.
because
Well,
if
it
I
ain't
had to
sad
move
to
on,
me because if it ain't good
well,
for me,
no,
I
when
don't
I when
want it.
I when I say that, when I realize how much time I lost, you know what I'm saying? Try, in that space. You get that's what I'm saying. When I
Oh,
realize
okay.
how much time I lost, let me clarify that, cause no,
Okay.
it won't be sad, y'all. I promise you. But when I realize how much when I look back on how much time I lost in that space, it makes me sad because I did it to myself. I did it to myself,
Oh,
and
I see
so
what you're
so
saying. I see what you're
yeah.
saying.
And so many times, y'all, when we think we're losing things or we're being rejected, for it's sometimes it ain't it's not rejection, excuse me, it's confirmation that that ain't for you. And a lot of times we ignore the universe, we ignore that confirmation because the confirmation of things are sometimes so uncomfortable based on what you think you're getting. And I just wish I would have accepted that confirmation and went on, because if it costs you more to achieve something, when I say that, when you get tired, when it's tiring and it's laboring, then you need to learn how to let it go. That's the universe telling you, let it go. And I wish 5 years ago I would have let it go, but instead I was thinking about, well, I'm trying to get this and I'm trying to do this, and guess what? Because of that situation, and because I had allowed it to play such a big part in my life for so long, everything that I thought I was gonna get because of that, or that I had planned to get because of that, I ain't got it. But the minute that I start letting go and unpacking that stuff and getting that big 60-gallon trash bag, y'all know what I'm talking about, and throwing that junk away, things just start coming. They start coming and manifesting in my life. Because even though I was manifesting it, I had to think about the things that were around me and that played a part in my life. And this is in your career. I'm talking about in your career. I mean, it can be applied to any facet of your life, but especially in your career. So if y'all have to get one of them big trash bags and throw stuff in, don't worry about it. But you might need to throw some stuff away and unpack some stuff so that you can properly get what's due or what you're manifesting in your life. Just
Yeah.
that simple.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But hey, since you brought that up, let me kind of explain to people what manifestation is. See, a lot of people think that you close your eyes and you go to the Most High and you tell him or the universe what you want, and you should get it. That's not manifestation. Manifestation is when everything is properly aligned. So your efforts have to align with your desire. I think we said last week, people ask for something, but they don't do anything. What they say, faith without work is no good. All right. So when we talk,
Prayer without work is dead. That's what they say.
okay, well, I know you knew it. So
Lord,
thank
fix
you,
it.
Jesus. But so anyway, what I'm saying to you is this. Recently, when people came into this woke state of being and started talking about how woke they were, we're Masons. We're Masons. We're taught to live a certain way. We have certain embedded principles, and not all Masons are the same. But those who truly understand it, Masons and Eastern Star, those who truly understand it, they know that there's a power within us that we can summons anytime. There are very few people, not just Masons, There are very few people who practice the art of understanding the power within themselves, which is no more than when God put the breath of life into you and you became a living soul. That breath has been with you and will be with you until you die. Then it returns back to Him. So now, everybody talks a good game. Everybody says that, hey, I'm going to manifest this, and I'm sick and tired of the way I'm living. I'm sick and tired of all the way these people treat me. When you manifest something, it has to be of clear mind and clear conscience. So that means that you're not to the left or right. Only energy that you have is the energy necessary to bring you what you desire. So if you're trying to manifest and you're thinking about somebody that made you mad last week, nah, that's not manifestation. If you're trying to manifest and you're saying, I just want, hey, give me $1 million so I can pay all my bills, that's not manifestation, because you don't understand the purpose of life when you do that. When you say things that to yourself, that's self-talk, I want it for this reasons. Your subconscious mind, it listens. The universe, it listens. So if you are confused or you have both negative and positive desires and thoughts in your head, there's nothing going to manifest out of that. Everything has to be 100%, and it has to be the way that you live your life. Now, there's a possibility you can get it right overnight. And overnight, things will start happening in the way that you desire. But it's not going to happen if you don't have positive energy, you don't have a high reverence for the grand architect of the universe, you're not properly aligned with people that you are on this planet with. I don't get mad at people. Never. I don't get mad. I'll joke because I understand certain things. If I want to prove a point to somebody, then I'll prove it to my creator. My priority is not to prove points to any person, because my life is not built around other people. It's built around my reverence to the Most High and the way I live my life. And once you understand you live your life a certain kind of way from the start of your realization until you die, everything that you want, you will get. I will guarantee it. That's how it goes. So I don't want people to start getting all holy moly, and now I'm going to manifest. I remember when that woke community became prominent and it was all over the internet, and I used to shake my head because I know they didn't know. Everybody started wearing the Ankh, and everybody started, doing all of these signs and symbols that they don't read up on. No, you're not complete. You're not complete until your soul understands it, until your heart understands it. Not your physical.
When I hear people say that, I be like, "No, you push the damn snooze button. You ain't woke."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
people, people get upset about that. But I think another important part to that is when you talk about, you know, all of those things you just said. So you have to be willing to accept the good with the bad, and a lot of people think when you sit up here and you say, oh, I'm speaking this into existence. Well, you got to accept everything that comes along with it, and not to say something bad comes along with it, but the struggle is there. When you talking about prayer without work is dead, that means you got to go fix everything. You got to sweep around your own front door. You got to fix the foundation of the house because it's sinking. Then you got to fix the door and this and that. So, you got to get used to when you start talking about moving, manifesting things and, all of this, what we're talking about now, handling rejection and things like that. if you get things straight in your own house or in your own building, then when it's time for you to handle rejection or things like that, you're able to move to the next phase. You can accept it, you can process it, you can deal with it, and you can move on and not dwell on it. A lot of people, when they get rejected, they just sit there and dwell on it. It ain't for you to dwell on. It's for you to learn the lesson, for you to get some more tough skin and figure out how else you gonna tackle whatever you got going on and move on. I think that way.
Well, you're very, very good point. But you just said something, speaking something to existence. How can somebody say, I'm going to speak it into existence, and you don't even have the power? The power is there, but you don't know how to access it. See, I'm not one of them people that play games with people or play games with the spiritual realm and elevation of life. So I'm not going to listen to you talking about, hey, I'm speaking that into existence. And I mean that. You don't know what you're talking about because you don't know how to do it. So why are you, it sounds popular. It might make you feel good, but if that's the purpose of it, then by all means, knock yourself out if it makes you feel good. But you're not speaking nothing into existence until you have your life aligned properly with the wills and desires of the Most High and all the people that you come in contact with in your life. Getting angry at people. What do you hope to accomplish? You want people to know that you're upset with their actions. What's my rule? Everybody's stupid but me. And that don't mean that I'm better than anybody. I look at the situation. So if you ever give me a dumb answer, a dumb response, or something that is not aligned properly with the way I live my life, then I just disregard it. I discard it. I don't even think about it anymore. I'm not angry at you. I ain't coming around you that often if I can help it. But we need to get away from all of this woke talk and people thinking they know what they're doing. Even religious leaders, they don't really know. You have to come into one with yourself.
Hey, you gonna get,
All right,
you're
I'm
gonna
sorry.
get,
Let me get back to the subject. You're right. I'm
gonna
sorry.
get us in trouble.
You
Shh.
know, I started to go there, but okay. All right. Remember this: if it improves your life, that rejection, once you learn the lesson, keep it. If it belittles you and makes you feel small, throw it away. Rejection always feels worse when we are powerless or when we feel powerless. Take one small action within 24 hours to regain control. Because when you're rejected, you're not in control at that moment. When you're thinking about the rejection, and a lot of times once you're rejected, people often default to revenge or doing something about it. So I caution everybody on that. What you want to do is just take one small step within 24 hours to regain control and remove any feeling of guilt and worthlessness. You need to remove any feelings of guilt and worthlessness. We can do this by regaining some agency. In other words, we need to refocus and redirect. Whatever is happening or how we feel in that moment, we need to redirect and refocus. Concentrate on something positive. It's my firm belief that there's nothing that happens in this world that there's no bad and good. It's the yin and the yang. It's always something good that comes out of every bad, and there's something bad that comes out of every good. Always. Let's say I work all hard, I make a whole bunch of money, and I can feed my family, and I've got an abundance of food. That's a good thing. But on the other hand, there are other people who are starving. So because I have more than enough food, then that means that somebody else, even if they can afford it, the supply may not be there. or they may not be in a country where it's that accessible. So there's always good out of every bad and bad out of every good. That second part is just my opinion. So if we refocus and redirect and concentrate on something positive, it won't remove the feeling of being rejected. So I'm not advocating that, and I'm not trying to, blow smoke up your butt and say that it will remove the feeling of rejection, because it won't. But what it will do, it will remove some of the impact. It will remove some of the impact. Okay? And once you remove that feelings of rejection, you can move on to doing more meaningful things in your life. If you carry it around with you, you might be able to fool people, but deep down inside, you know that resentment or that rejection is still there. Keith, you got anything you want to add before I continue?
I just been rolling with the flow. I mean, there's a lot of different angles that we could take rejection on, and I think what Jajoya brought up, I wasn't even looking at, that direction, and I think it's a good direction. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes with us, meaning me and you, we're very solid in certain things, and we're looking at things from certain perspectives. But when she brings up that angle, rejection is different for every person. So I was going to get into, trying to follow your dreams and different rejections that happen along the way. But I think the reality is that people have to understand that rejection is a perspective too. And I think when Joya was saying that, I think look, you can think that you're being rejected, but what you're trying to do is actually not what you're supposed to be doing. So you're really not being rejected. You're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. So what people do is they then take that and then say, I was rejected. No, actually, you weren't rejected. You just tried to match up something that doesn't match up. Once again, it's a matter of perspective. But the reality, what'd you say?
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Your perspective forms everything.
Right. So DeJoya made me think about what I was going to even say, because I said, if I'm going to ride with this, and actually she's, like I said, she's 100% right. So I'm like, yeah, you know what, DeJoya, she dropped a gem on him. So it's a matter of perspective and how you view what it is that you're doing. If you're matching up something that doesn't match, you can't say you were rejected, because you really weren't rejected. You tried to match up something that doesn't match. So I think that when we in life, and this is the biggest problem with life, is that most people don't look at life through the lens of being a realist. They don't look through the lens of going through life through acceptance, right? Like I have a friend that we grew up with, close friend. He was part of the basketball team, everything, one of our teammates. He has ALS, and he only has a short time left to live, right? So a couple of weeks ago, we all got together and got with him. Me and a few of my other, my boys, we were all teammates. And then, people were like, yo, your dad passed away. How are you going to, wow, you went to see somebody else. I said, guys, he's alive. So how can I not go see him? And then I said, just because I'm going through what I'm going through, right? What does that have to do with going to sow and show love and shower someone else with love that you have that relationship and that respect with, right? So once again, it's a matter of perspective, because
kudos to you, Keith. Kudos to you.
You see what I'm saying? I'm known to Mr. G. Listen, you know me long enough and DeJoya know. I'm not saying this to get any of that. And I'm only saying this right now because it came out. And that's really what happened. My boy, Mike Hallman, has limited time to live. He's ALS. He's on a ventilator at the house. He's in that wheelchair, the electric. He can't even talk. His tongue atrophied, everything. He has to talk through that machine where you touch the button and it says whatever, but his mind is right. He understands everything we saying. We were reminiscing and all of that. So what I'm saying is that when you look at these things, it puts it back in perspective, as far as when these things that we're talking about, right? So rejection is all about perspective. And just because someone doesn't want to hear what you have to say doesn't mean they're rejecting you. They're not ready to hear it. So I think the biggest thing people have to realize is that when you know who you are as a person, when you know the direction you're going, when you understand your purpose, you know who the Supreme Architect is, and you have a relationship with the Supreme Architect, not just know who he is. You have an actual relationship where it's actually every day that you have that relationship. And there's different levels to it.
Yep.
That's when we could talk about your perspective. So the stuff that we're talking about to you guys is some of you on this live, you don't have that. You don't know your purpose. You don't know why you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing. So some of what we're saying, it's not even going to make sense, but it will later. So what we're saying is just like us, we learn some stuff later too. Don't push it away because you may not get it yet. Get it in your mind, get it in your subconscious, then table it. But if you're committed to personal growth, when you table it, you're going to eventually come back to it. But if you table it and you don't do anything, then we know that you're not committed to personal growth and all these different things we're talking about. And we're not judging anybody. But I'll end with this and say this. The subconscious mind, like Mr. G said, and even DeJoya, is very powerful. And you have to be very careful how you program it. Every rejection that you get, if you're on the right track you're supposed to be in, you're much closer to a yes. So I've always looked at that, right? I come from a background of network marketing, like, right, early 2000s, late 90s network marketing, right? It's all about numbers, how many people you talk to, all these different things. Look, when we were like 17, we used to go to South Street in Philly and we would make bets to see who could talk to the most women and get the most phone numbers and all them times that we out. And sometimes you ain't even gonna call. You're not even gonna call them. And then we celebrate no fear. And we knew that we gonna talk, you're gonna get rejected, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. So for me, I kind of come from a different background of rejection. Like you're looking at the guy, like the amount of women that rejected me when we were doing all that stuff, having these contests. You know what I'm saying? And, she said no. All right, next. Oh, all right, next. So I think that people in life have to develop that disposition because the biggest problem is a lot of people look for validation from others. They look from the confirmation from other people. Am I doing the right thing? But the reality is, if you're living for you and you're one of one, no one else can confirm to you what you're supposed to do. Only you and the Supreme Architect can have that conversation. So why are you giving other people that power? So anyway, Mr. G, you go ahead and finish it off.
Man, I love everything you just said.
You see what I'm saying? Like people give that power, Mr. G, to other people, and the other people don't even have that power. And even when you give it to them, they still don't even know that you're giving it to them because they don't know what you're giving to them. Right. So a lot of people spend time focused on what other people think and they need their validation. I've never lived my life, even from a child. That's why I never got in trouble with peer pressure. Like, I'm not doing that because I'm looking at that and saying, y'all all gonna go to jail. I'm not. So you go ahead and do that. And guess what? When you do it, don't come back to me and say, Keith, how did you know? I ain't gonna say I told you so. I'm gonna say that's what it is. But go ahead, Mr. G.
Yeah. Hey, and I really appreciate everything you just said because you dropped a lot of jewels that's necessary to elevate. And also when DeJoya said, yeah, you get rejected, that might be a blessing. You're over there crying and boo-hooing.
Yes. When she said that, that's what made me change my whole, what I was going to think about saying. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've been in so many situations, right, throughout my lifetime, and I'll just share this one with you. Back in the day, we were getting ready to go do something, and it was dirty, right? And My boys came around, at the time, I didn't have to drive. I left my car. I'm riding with them, right? I'm supposed to be riding with them. So when they come get me, when they come to pick me up, the car is full. So my man come to the door and say, "Hey G, hey man, so and so wanted to go, and he really about the business and whatnot, and we need somebody right there. We don't want to put you in jeopardy because you kind of got the mind for making sure everything go right." Man, okay, I'm like, man, that's some bullshit. I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? That's my feeling. They went ahead and left, right? But I'm saying to myself, nah, man, I had my spot. That ain't supposed to happen, right? But and I'm saying this because of what she just said. When they went to do their thing, they all got caught up. Every single one of them. So again, I'm saying that to say your rejection doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It could be a blessing to you. It could be a blessing to you. And I'm not saying that happened because of me or anything like that. I'm just giving you the scenario and the synopsis of what happened. That's what happened. So when we get rejected, we cannot look at it personally. So the next part that I'm talking about right now, we should never personalize systems or other people's limitations. We should never personalize systems or other people's limitations. Now, in that case, I look at the limitation as that, okay, they were limited, they couldn't take me. So that's a limitation, if I were to use that example. Now, if someone does not see your value or your worth, it doesn't reflect on you. I don't know how many times I need to say that. If someone does not see your value or your worth, it does not reflect on you. I mean, I don't talk to so many people, and it kind of breaks my heart when I hear them down themselves, because I'm one of them people. I try to keep people uplifted and try to stay motivated and in a happy place. And when I meet somebody and I can see it sincerely bothers them, it kind of bothers me as well. Why do you feel that way about yourself? Who is this dude or who is this girl? They ain't Jesus Christ. They ain't nobody special. They just another person. So we don't need to associate their rejection to our worth, period. Most rejections come from bureaucracy, fear, jealousy, overload, biases, or someone else's unresolved problem. Do I need to say that again? Let me give you all those things that rejections come from. Most of them anyway. Bureaucracy, fear, jealousy, overload. They got too much on their plate. They only know how to deal with themselves. Their mind is just going crazy. Biases are someone else's unresolved problems. Let that sink in for me.
I don't know. It took me a long time to realize, a lot of things, and um, but when I got it, I got it,
And
and
that's
I
all that
I put
matters.
yeah, when I got it, I got it. And I put this on my email signature, and I left it. Somebody was like, why you put that? And nothing happens by, everything happens by design. Nothing happens by mistake, you know. And so when we talk about all of this, different types of rejection and how we deal with it and whatever, that's just something that I have incorporated in my life every day, even in my personal life, in personal life, work life. Everything has its own design of happening. Nothing happens by mistake. We think that a lot of things happen to us, and well, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Yes, it was. You know what I'm saying? Um, so you have to get used to that concept. And you have to say that to yourself on a daily basis, so that when things do happen or they don't work out like you planned or whatever, you have to remember you don't have the blueprint for anything. He does. The universe guides all of that.
Amen.
We cannot make our own blueprints and they turn out right. Because how many times do we try to do things and it turn
Oh
out
Lord, we
wrong?
finna get
We
deep.
cannot design how things should go. We cannot design we know that if we do ABC, this is going to happen. We know what's wrong or whatever. But at the end of the day, we cannot create our own blueprint. And when you try to, it's going to mess up. That's why you have to know that everything is predestined for you. That's why it's called destiny. It's God's perfect design, the grand architect's perfect design. So when you get that concept, and when you really apply it and you really know what it means, things will work out the way that they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
The word destiny means God's design,
Hey,
God's perfect plan.
start
So
using them
when we,
biblical
Yeah,
words.
you talking
when we,
masonically,
so,
biblically, everything. You
so,
breaking it all down.
so,
I don't think
so
everybody
when,
getting what you're
yeah,
saying right now.
so what I'm telling you. So when we try to create what should happen, it's not gonna happen that way because we can't do that. If
Right.
so, we could have created other people. We could have made the world like we wanted to. So you have to
Right.
move in the design of things. You have to understand there's a perfect plan to everything. And since you ain't perfect, you can't make that plan.
Oh
So
man,
I've
preach
learned
now.
I've so I so I've learned,
Oh
you
Lord.
know, do not go against the grain. You don't know how many times I felt like, you get those little guinea pig and those mouse and y'all seeing those scientific experiments and they gotta go through this maze and they bump their heads against things and they figure, oh, I
Oh
ain't supposed to go
Lord.
that way. How
Yes,
many times do
indeed.
you wake up with a mental headache because you keep bumping your head against a wall that is there designed so you don't make a mistake, so you don't have to revamp your life. But the reason we have to keep revamping things and the reason we have to keep talking about rejection and this and that, because y'all, we keep bumping our heads against somewhere we ain't supposed to. So if you let things just flow in God's perfect design and be like water, let it go under everything, let things flow,
Hey,
then
not
you'll be all
Okay,
Bruce
right.
DeJoya Lee.
So
Okay,
I
Lee.
just
DeJoya Lee.
Bruce Lee now.
Okay,
I just
DeJoya
had
Lee.
I just had to tell y'all that
Okay,
now.
DeJoya
Y'all just
Lee.
know what I'm saying. See, I be
Yeah,
don't say nothing. See,
I
I be being
okay,
quiet a lot.
DeJoya Lee.
But hey, I don't usually have to snap and bite.
Damn,
I'm just trying to tell
you
you.
dropping gems
I'm just
on
saying.
them. All
So
right, all
anyway,
I'll
Hey,
say
I'm
is
done.
this: some of
uh,
y'all, she just did the Mamba out, the Kobe mic drop on you. She said Mamba out, but look,
okay.
everything she said, she's saying it with the assumption that the people that's hearing it have the awareness and the personal awareness. Some people are like, they have no personal awareness. They're so you have to actually be really tapped into yourself. You have to be on the path of personal growth. You have to be on all those things to understand what DeJoya said. We could break down what she said in another live, like Mr. G, like
Oh yeah, I'm
like
here.
so,
I'm with you. I'm
yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah. So go ahead, Mr. G.
Hey, but see, the thing is, and she's absolutely right about everything. The reason we bump our heads and we keep going into a direction that we aren't designed to go in is because we're following our own will. We're following what we want to do. So, and the other flip side of that, you bump your head or you go into something because you are growing. Once you get past these obstacles, I guarantee you, every person on this live, when you cause something to happen to you that was bad, embarrassing, hurtful, and painful, you will never do it again. I guarantee you that. I remember the first time I did something and it really caused me some pain. I will never repeat that. So I'm grown. I'm grown past that. And the other thing is this, on the flip side, just because the door is closed, just because a door is closed, it doesn't mean that it wasn't meant for you to walk through it. Y'all hear me? Just because the door is closed, it doesn't mean that it's not meant for you to walk through it. You got people who are weak and people who don't understand their purpose and who they are. So you go to the door, and since it's closed, you automatically assume that's the wrong door. You much rather walk through the one that's already open so that you can see inside and you can see if it's harmful or whether or not there's something to benefit you. Remove that line of thinking. Just because the door is closed does not mean it's not meant for you to walk through it. A closed door says more about the door than the person knocking on it. If I see a closed door and I'm determined and I know I'm prepared, I'm knocking on that door. And if it's the wrong door, at least I can eliminate that for certain. So we got to change the way we think.
The
Yeah.
people though, let me just say this, and I know y'all, I know, but anyway, today, let me tell y'all what happened while he talking about doors, and let me just tell y'all where I'm going. So today, employee called me and said, boy, I can't get in the door. It's hard to open. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking, what can I do about this door where you are? I'm 20 miles from you. So you calling me to tell me to open a door you can't get in. But don't call me to tell me to open a door for you, because maybe that door ain't for you to open. If it was for you to open, you would open it, right? You know what I'm saying? So I just look at it like this. When I see things like that and we talk about, opening doors and what's behind the door for you and things like that. Sometimes when you can't get in the door, or when the door is closed and you got to turn it to open it, or you got to work a little bit at opening it and getting in there, the what's behind the door is greater for you, but I'm very careful about uh when people call me and ask me things, or they need something, or they tell me, oh, I can't get in this, I can't do this, can you do it for me? No, because it ain't for me to open it for you. If I open it, it's for me, so you have to be careful, and then you can't be afraid of what's behind the door. A lot of people are afraid to open doors because they're afraid of what's behind the door. Well, why ask God to lead you to the door? Why ask him to give you keys if you're gonna be afraid to open the door, or see what is behind there for you? You know what I mean? And if you can't get in the door, it ain't for you. you know I mean, we have to get past, we think these are simple concepts and they stupid and they don't make sense. But if you really open your mind, because we talk about all these things about being woke, third eye, this, that, and the other, that's just called expanding your mind. So if you really expand your mind and don't be afraid to think and don't be afraid to accept what is put in front of you, then you'll be all right. But don't
Well,
ask for something
and I
and
don't mean
be
to interrupt
afraid
you,
of
but
it.
let me say this because you brought that this thought into my heart. So let me say this. You are you have to be more concerned with the message than the messenger. You have to be more concerned with the message than the messenger. Now let me tell you why I say that. Because you look at a person and you feel that this person is not qualified to give you the message. Or you look at a person and you say, oh, well, I'm doing better than that person. Or I'm, excuse me, I'm more educated than that person. I'm more this than that person. So you're more concerned with the messenger than the message. And that's where a lot of people miss their blessings because they feel it's just like in the Bible where it talks about the beggar and whatnot, right? And once that beggar was glorified by God and received all those riches, everybody wanted to cling to him. Everybody wanted to give him praise. But as a beggar, they didn't have time for him. They walked past him. They didn't give him a dime. So I'm saying my point to you is don't be concerned about the messenger. Be more concerned about the message. And again,
I'm gonna go over a lot of people's head there. No.
When you put it on my spirit, in my heart,
but I'm just saying but that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things that a lot of things that we talk about, guys. People just expect messages and things to be put out there and for you not to have to think about them. But later on, because he said a lot of things, I'll be like, now that don't sound, but then I think about it later. When Greg says stuff, because he got a habit of that. He be just talking, he say something, and it just goes over my head, and then later
sometimes I drop that crumb and just keep going.
Yeah.
What I mean?
And then later on,
if you pick it up, then it's for you.
Yeah, and so later on, then I'll be like, now he just said, he said this and whatever. So, I know that a lot of things that we may say or that we may be talking about, it probably go over your head right now. But later on, when that piece of sand fall and it agitates your hair and you get it out and it fall and you be like, oh, that's it. That's what they were saying.
Absolutely.
And it's meant to, huh?
I just said absolutely. I'm agreeing with you. You on point tonight.
So when we're talking about things, it's not things that specifically can help that'll help you all the time within that time, within that set that we're talking about. But it's things that when you come across other issues in your life, we're hoping that you'll pick it up or that you'll hear that whisper again. We talk about whispers a lot. And sometimes people think if you talk loud, you're heard. But being heard sometimes is the smallest whisper, not the loudest voice, but the smallest.
Look at you! Where you getting all these quotes from tonight? You don't
know me, y'all. Yeah, I am the real last lady. I got the juice for y'all tonight. So I tell people, kids come through the line now, and this is cutest little boy. He come through the line, but I don't know. I think he a little about that life kind of fella. And I told him, I said, you know what? You would speak louder if I didn't hear you. So he goes, huh? I said, just think about that for a minute. When you come through this line and I don't hear your loud voice, then I want to know where little Ricky Bobby is. But when I hear your voice all the time, I be like, there's Ricky Bobby. So we have to be, we have to be mindful of how loud we are sometimes. Sometimes don't be loud, be silent, be quiet, and you are heard more.
Like they say.
You're heard more if you're silent than you are when you're screaming. That's just me.
Amen. Amen, sister. Now, oh man, I knew it was going to be great. I didn't think it was going to be this great because I done heard some things that you said. You shocking me over here. Keith too. I don't know if y'all studied for the test or whether or not y'all prayed at the grand architect and put some wisdom in your heart.
Come on, bro.
I will tell you this.
I learned from y'all.
I learned from everybody, but I will tell you this. Since my dad's passing, I don't know, certain things and just kicked in differently on some different things. And I don't know if I grew overnight, but I didn't grow overnight. It's like the Chinese bamboo tree, right? I've been growing, but now it's like everything kicked in. I don't know. Even my freestyles and got better, everything. Like, I'm just telling you, it's like I think I'm on a different level right now. And maybe it's because of just that had to happen in my life to take me to that next level of spirituality and everything that's subconscious that we talking about. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, the only thing that you need to know is that you're aware of it. That's the only thing you need to know.
I am very much aware of it. That I am very much aware of it. I can tell you.
Listen,
Yeah.
if you are aware that there's some significant change that's taking place in your life, then that event is part of the reason that you are aware. Now, it's up to you what you do with it. Because now you've already, it's just like, listen, I tell people like this. Once I see something, I know something, right? If we talk about cleanliness and being sinful and more godly, right? Once you know something, it's difficult for you to be forgiven or excused. The man that doesn't know anything, even in courts and mitigating circumstances, the person who does not know anything, he gets a pass. If you know and you choose to do whatever it is, then your penalty is greater. Always remember that. You can't turn away from it and say, I don't know it. Now you have to make a choice. If you make that choice with that information that you've been blessed with, because you receive information in your growth pattern to make you a better person. So if you choose to do something that you were doing before you received that information, your penalty is greater. Let me drop that jewel. Now, all right, we get ready to close out, but let me say this real quick. Rejection only breaks you if you are seeking approval. If you are looking for approval, that's the only time rejection is going to break you. When that approval becomes your goal and you're rejected, your feelings are hurt. The pain is much worse. It is severe. It's chronic. However, we should never look for approval when we're rejected. If somebody rejects us, go back to what I said from the beginning. It means that you're not their cup of tea, or you weren't ideal for that situation. It doesn't have anything to do with your self-worth or your value. So let's get that right. It only makes it worse when you are looking for approval. When somebody accepts you, that's an approval. If they don't accept you, that's disapproval. If you look at it from an approval perspective, if you look at it from a perspective, well, that was not for me, then you're not looking for approval from an individual. We should never look for approval. What we should do, we should re-anchor it. We should re-anchor the direction of that rejection to purpose rather than approval. Re-anchor it to purpose rather than approval. Another way to look at it is people who are never rejected are not really trying to do anything meaningful. If you ain't never been rejected, you ain't did nothing meaningful in your life. You just existed. They are what I call safe people. People who don't take risks. People who don't take chances. People who dodge responsibility. When something happens, it's not me. It's always somebody else. Those are safe people. Boring and without the desire to elevate. They're boring. They talk about people rather than business, God, things, and things that are meaningful. They talk about other people. So get them people out of your life. A healthy mindset is one that says rejection is not a stop sign. It is a sign of participation. Rejection is not a stop sign. It's a sign of participation. You have to be in it to be rejected. If you're not in it and not participating, then you can't be rejected. So you're safe. Does that make sense? It should make sense. It's not a stop sign because I was rejected. At least I was a participant. I'm not like my boy who doesn't even worry or have the desire or the momentum to even be rejected. He's safe. He or she, whichever one. All right. All right, I'm about to close out, y'all. We had another great one. Oh, man, I love this. I love all of these people who are in this room. Man, thank you all so much. Thanks for all the gifts. I try to holler them out as I hear them ting on my phone, but if I didn't ting when you sent something, we appreciate it greatly. So in conclusion, the healthiest way to deal with rejection is to feel it without letting it define you. Your rejection should never define who you are. You should use it as feedback rather than a final judgment. Just because you're rejected, that's not the end. There's somebody that's going to come along and accept you. Just because they don't like chocolate, there's somebody who's going to come along and like chocolate. They just prefer vanilla, as I do. Ultimately, the strongest response to rejection, the strongest response is self-belief and anchoring in purpose instead of approval. Guide it towards your purpose. Take whatever lesson that's taught and use it in your purpose. Do not use rejection as a defining moment of who you are. Stay grounded in who you are. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. Don't let nobody change the way you feel about yourself. And we all should feel that we're great people because we're all created greatly in the eyes of our Creator. Just keep showing up. Every single day, keep showing up, regardless of what happened to you yesterday. All right? And remember, always remember, being rejected does not mean you are not chosen. Being rejected does not mean that you are not chosen. What it means is that you're being shaped for the right person or the right opportunity at the right time. All right? We love you all. Thank you all for coming. We'll be back here next Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Hey, how you doing? Okay, 8 o'clock as usual. So, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, au revoir, and goodbye, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. We love you.